Everybody, this is Trish Kane, founder of Healerverse. Every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do the Healerverse Roundtable. Today is going to be especially special, as usual, because we have Alisa, and she was actually at Miami Swim Week event that we did doing a sound healing experience with her beloved partner, Alan. And if you met her, you already know she's amazing. She's available to come and do experiences for you. She's from the Northeast. I absolutely love her, and I'm super excited to do this today. Let's everyone welcome Alisa.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Trish. Yeah, so my name's Alisa, and I formed this company called Sound Cascade with my partner in life, partner in business, partner in crime, Alan. And we are a kind of a full spectrum sound meditation company. And even though we've been bringing our good vibrations to people for 4 years now, I just want to give you a little background on sound healing. It's actually been a home remedy favored by cultures, like many, many different cultures for thousands of years. So you think about the historic Native American drum circles to, modern, shaman ceremonies, say in the Middle East. But waves of like soothing sound, also known as a sound bath, right? We hear that term, that buzz term a lot these days. Oh, I'm going to a sound bath. But really, truly, it can help with stress, fatigue, and depression, right? So, anything that helps clear that up, we're all for. A couple other things about sound that we've learned, kind of on our 4-year journey here in offering it and as practitioners. Through sound, we actually achieve a deeper understanding of self. We have enhanced compassion for others because we're getting into, our internals and into our heart chakras and our various chakras, which I'll explain, kind of a little bit later. We have a stronger connection to our universal source, our higher power, right? Sometimes we're asking for guidance. All these things, are achieved in sound bowls. And if you're an attendee, and if you think about it, everything in the entire universe is energy, right? Including humans. And energy is constantly in motion, vibrating and resonating at various frequencies. And if I, jump in if you have any questions about kind of what I'm saying, and Trish, especially you. But I don't propose to be a scientist, but I wanted to give you kind of like the science behind the sound, because we've had to do like some education. So just really quickly, just talk about the power of sound and the science of it. So according to research in the Journal of Biological Chemistry, right, approximately 60% of our bodies are made up of water. And most of that water is contained within our cells, in each cell. So since water is a good conductor of sound, sound can travel as the carrier of these frequencies throughout the body. So in this way, sound and tones of instruments used during a sound therapy session affect every cell in our body. So think about that. Every cell in our body, because we're made of water primarily, right? It's affecting us. So it's helping with brain, nerves, muscles, and organs. Sound healing also functions through resonance and entrainment, where the body's cells react to sound waves and pulsations. So this triggers the parasympathetic nervous system. And just so you know, entrainment is the process where two interacting systems, say like biological and physical, synchronize their rhythms into a fluid whole. So kind of like the way, our internal, like biological clocks respond to external clues, like sunrises and sunsets, right? When the sun rises, it's like, okay, our body is saying, our biological system saying it's time to get up. Similarly, when it's sunsetting, we're like, okay, we need to start powering down, right? Or, when we change the clocks in the spring and fall, right? So it's all kind of the same mechanisms working. So humans are made up of vibrations, and each person has their own, just like fingerprints, just like signatures. And the vibration in us is the product of all the processes that power up our physical bodies, mental health, and emotional states. So since stress and negative emotions create blockages, a healthy energy flow, right? Making our bodies full of vibrational harmony. And that's when we can develop illnesses, when we have too many of these blockages. They're blocking our vibrations. So you think about heart disease, right? You think about this all the time, right? Stress causes, heart disease. It can cause diabetes, mental health issues, addictions. All of these have been linked to stress and tension. So during a sound healing session, the vibrations created by the various instruments help us to relax and raise the body's vibrational frequency, thus our self-healing. So obviously this doesn't take just listening or hearing, but really active listening. So what I love about Sound Cascade, once we knew we wanted to do this and we were on this path of like helping people, our sound therapy practice really manipulates a variety of modern and ancient instruments. And Trish can attest to this. So we use gongs, we use crystal bowls, we use Tibetan or Himalayan bowls. That term is used synonymously, Tibetan, Himalayan. We use chimes. We also use drums, tapping into Native American cultures to create vibrations that promote deep relaxation, reduce stress and anxiety, boost the endorphins, and improve overall well-being in the participant. And by using this eclectic array of instruments, we feel we're really able to clear the listener's energy fields. So again, those blockages that are happening due to stress, due to this, due to that, due to life, getting lifey, we can clear that through sound. And if you've ever had an acupuncture treatment, it's kind of similar to that, right? When you get off the table after, the practitioner removes the needles, you feel like release. So that's what can be achieved in sound healing as well. And just to like a little warning, sometimes because of the instruments and the tones and, the person's vibrational energy, it's supposed to be relaxing and most people do fall asleep, but some people have like an intense reaction, right? Especially to the gongs. And that's okay because again, that energy field, that blockage is being released. And so some people sometimes cry, some people laugh, some people sleep. So we kind of get the whole gamut of doing that. Any questions so far on, the science of sound and how it works, kind of physically and mechanically in our bodies?
I just want to say thank you so much for sharing this with us. I've never really had the opportunity to tap in and think about like how it's actually working. I know it feels good. I know I feel everything clearing out, but like talking about this is even healing and therapeutic.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, I mean, and it's like, we know the instruments, we like to let the instruments speak for themselves and we know the reactions that people have, after one of our sessions. And, but we're like, we got to get educated on this. Like, how is this actually working, on a spiritual, emotional, physical, biological level? So, So, how did we get into this sound healing modality, right? That's a good question. So once upon a time, there was a little girl named Alisa that hated taking naps and was very hyper, and back in the day, I grew up in the 70s. So, there wasn't any type of, Ritalin or anxiety meds or these conditions weren't known. So, I always knew I revved high, I had a high vibration and I revved high, as a child and I still do, but now I'm, as an adult, I'm able to incorporate a lot of different things that help me with that. But I encountered sound healing actually at a women's retreat weekend. It was about 14 years ago. And I attended one of the sessions was a chakra balancing. And, some of the women that I had made friends with at this retreat were going to attend it. And I'm like, what does that entail? And they're like, well, you're laying on the floor and you're letting the tones vibrate. And I'm like, well, it doesn't sound really great to me, but all right, let me try it. So I did it. And as I was lying on the yoga mat, I could actually feel the tones and sounds vibrating through the floor into my body and making it all tingly. And what's more, I actually dozed off during the session, which is always a win. So when the hour was over, I remember that feeling of just being refreshed, relaxed, a state of like bliss and joy, and just, refreshed physically and mentally, as if I had experienced kind of a little bit of, a touching of the divine. So I knew if this type of, sound healing could work on me, right? an untreated ADD person, I knew that I had to spread this modality to other people because, I'm not one where I can just meditate on like an object and get to that place. I can't do it. I need to have sound. So hence I started purchasing instruments piece by piece until I built up a nice little cadre of, arsenal of instruments. And then I immersed myself in books. One of the most prominent, kind of early sound healers and sound meditation teachers, her name is Sarah Oster. She's out of New York. She's written a couple books, but I read her book. And I was just blown away because that, kind of helped me get into the mechanics of it all. I started going to, like, instead of Friday nights, going out partying, I started going to gong meditations. Okay. That was like my day of like a fun weekend night. It was going to gong sessions, which we had in my neck of the woods. I was very lucky. I trained also, I sought out some of through social media, I started finding, sound healers and people doing this, for a living. And I trained with a renowned sound therapist in my region, and I gradually learned which instruments kind of flowed into one another to develop a seamless sound journey for the listener, which is what, I execute every day. I also did recon, right? I also attended different sound meditation sessions with other practitioners. And, I knew that I really wanted to distinguish the Sound Cascade style by the extensive variety of sounds that are produced, because I feel the more tones and more instruments that the listener is experiencing, the greater the chances of unblocking those energy fields, right? And experiencing that release, because it's not just the same thing that you're hearing. So hence, we have a really massive collection of instruments. So that's one distinguishing factor. We always hear that, after one of our sessions, like, oh my God, what were all these sounds? Like, we're used to just hearing, say, crystal bowls or Tibetan bowls. No, those are just a part of what we offer. We love to tap into, as I mentioned, various cultures. So Native American, so we have drums, we have, instruments from Asia that hailed from Egypt. And because I perform with my partner, Alan, another distinguishing factor is we're able to create a rich layering of sounds for like a truly immersive experience. So for instance, while Alan's playing our big, 36-inch gong at the front of the room, I'm then walking around with a portable gong, and I'm banging it, what I mean, over the participants. So when I'm walking around them, they're like, oh yeah, this is even more, an experience, a tangible experience, kind of like a 4D experience, they're feeling it, really, resonate through their bodies. And just so you know, both Alan and I have a musical background, obviously not in these types of instruments, but I played classical piano for about 12 years while growing up. Alan has studied musical theory, across a medley of instruments as a child, and he's currently in 4 different rock bands around the Southern Florida region. So he brings his musical talent in playing saxophone, keyboards, lead guitar, flute, and ukulele. So we know a little bit about what we're doing, just to give you that. Any questions so far?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I am indeed a sound bowl therapist for animals and people.
Love it.
I'm a musician as well, so I very much connect with you, and I'm in Pompano right now. So I do book musicians as well, because
Fabulous.
I work with the heavy pets. I work with higher vibrational musicians that do new music as well as old and cover bands. So
awesome.
I'd love to
we need to connect.
Because we can do something together in a larger way, of course.
I would love it. And we're up in Jupiter now, so we are looking to expand southern. So yes, that's
wonderful.
Lovely.
I'm going to sell my house in Pompano, where I've lived forever in a lovely home by the beach, and I haven't 100% decided. I think I want to be on a sailboat rather than a home.
Yeah.
Because I am, of course, a mermaid, and I belong in the sea sometimes. And
love it.
Yeah. So it's wonderful to hear you speak today.
Oh, thank
Do
you
you
so
have any
much.
questions for her? You said
I
you had
do
questions?
have many.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to ask a question?
Sure.
Sure.
What do you find is your best avenue when you're practicing online or in person? Because I've done both.
Yes, I have. And in person, for sure, because then we're able to physically walk around and really envelop and cushion, the person.
Because you made mention that it didn't come, like I've always left my body. I've always had that since birth. So I've always been in touch with that and been able to get visions. Because of it, they were cloudy and they were, I should say, premature, and they were fuzzy until we've entered this space age. So now that I'm fully immersed like you, it's a joy to be connected to people like you.
Aww.
And we certainly, I can share connections of very you must be familiar with Stanley Jordan. I'm a self-taught musician. I play every instrument there is. I'm a grassroots.
Excellent.
So I'm very blessed. And
it would be
clearly
great
you are.
After this, I'll put you guys in a group chat, and you're also both in the Healerverse private group chat for the practitioners.
Good.
Thanks,
Yeah, it would be great, to do something collaboratively. And also I have this vision of we could do a virtual, sound healing, I
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
And your dogs, anybody that has
he's here.
I got my solfeggio tuning forks, which are the best.
Great.
Let's
plan
animals
it after this.
and
Let's
people.
plan it. Yeah.
I'll have a
question
because
I have a question for Lisa.
Let's do it at my house with a few of us. Yeah. And Mary will come down. Jackie, fly down.
I will.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on the mute now.
The acoustics in my house would be so cool because I have the vaulted ceilings in my living room. Yeah, I think that would be so cool.
And if your husband wants to join the South Florida Ukulele Club, I've been a member for 20 years.
Great.
Who is the founder of that, lives in Hollywood, and she teaches in the daytime younger children, but she will teach anyone who wants to learn the ukulele.
Thank you.
Freely.
Thank you so much. All right, great. Yeah, let's do that. Thank you. I'll put you guys in a private group chat after for sure. You said you had a question? Yeah.
So Alisa, you said you studied with someone. You studied with a practitioner or somebody who taught you sound healing. Who did you study with?
His name was Calvin. I'm from Connecticut, so we just moved down here about 2.5 years ago. So he's in the Northeast.
Okay.
So I can help you there. I can help you there. There is a woman who had Lyme's disease. Her name is Vicky Gould. She's life energy healing. And I learned all of that I needed to learn. And you can buy your things from her or
her name sounds familiar too. Yeah.
She cured herself from I cured myself from 2 born diseases from it. But she had Lyme's disease and she is cured from it.
Yeah. And, can I ask another question, Lisa?
Sure.
So he's still up in Connecticut, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm also a certified sound therapist. I've been at it for 4 years as well. But I'm always learning. I'm always growing. I'm always collecting information. I would love if I could get in contact with who you learned from. Or the other question is, do you teach or do you have a certification program? Because that's something else that is interesting to
You
me.
know what? We haven't yet at this point. We do not have a certification yet. So we haven't gone through it like the schooling to get that, that piece of paper at all. Something that's on our radar, but being fairly new to the area, only been down here about 2.5 years, it was interesting because we had built a nice following up in the Northeast and then we moved, which is fine. It's totally fine, but we're kind of building our base now and, hence joining up with Trish on Healerverse and kind of
I think it would be fantastic if you hosted a workshop and taught other sound healers that are how to layer the sounds and teach them everything kind of thing, because I would totally attend that workshop. I'd be in the front seat.
Me too.
I'd be there with all of my
Me too.
instruments, and I'd be right there. I'd be the teacher's pet.
Oh, I love it.
I would totally come. Yeah, I would totally go to that.
Well, this is an interesting segue to my next topic, because it was like, okay, where do we perform, right? So since we've been down here, some of our public appearances have been at, say, crystal shops. Yoga studios is a big one. Spas, art studios even. And check this out, assisted living facilities. We were just at one yesterday, a senior living community down in Royal Palm. And the seniors love it because it helps them relax, right? And it's entertainment. And the assisted living facility loves it because usually the seniors conk out and sleep, right, in their wheelchairs. So they're like, "Yay, we're free for like an hour." So it really isn't that fun?
Wait, let's let her speak for a few minutes.
Yeah. So that's a really cool sector that we've been exploring, and that seemed to be very open to what we offer. We've also teamed up with, I know we were talking about animals. So we said, you know what, let's team up with some nonprofits in the area. Like that, we've done a couple different sound fundraisers, sound healing fundraisers for the Humane Society of the Treasure Coast, Bush Wildlife Sanctuary here in Jupiter, and we just did one last weekend at the Loggerhead Marine Life Center. So in other words, what we're doing there is we're charging like a fee, right, to enter. People need to register, and then we're splitting the the payout or the total revenue raised with the nonprofit. So it's like a win-win. So we're getting more exposure to a different audience, and they're making some money off of it. So we found that that's been a really interesting venue, kind of these creative fundraising opportunities and events. Another thing we've been doing is small groups. Like a lot of times it's like a girls' night or something like that, and even privates. We've done a few privates down here. Oh my God, we were in a house last week in North Palm. It was an estate. It was an estate. It was better than like the Newport, mansions up in Rhode Island. And so that's becoming a big part of our business too. People that want that like one-on-one and like privacy, to really, get into themselves and connecting, with the divine source. They're like booking us for privates. Our future goals, I'm always like thinking ahead as well. We'd love to perform in, say, an outdoor amphitheater venue, maybe at like Carlin Park. I always have that band shell on my radar. I'm like, I got to get in there. Or maybe even start a YouTube channel for some of our live performances. And we get a lot of questions too. Hey, are you guys on like Spotify, or have you guys, have you done any tracks and that are available, like audio tracks online? We have not done that yet. So that's another thing that we want to get into. But of course, we'd love to collaborate with all of you. More on this platform, you guys are spiritual guides, and maybe planning like a day-long retreat or, a weekend retreat or something. So
Lisa, what's your phone number?
860-869-1509.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we've been doing. Trish, how long do we want to go today? Because I can get into a little bit more about the background of some of the instruments we play. And then I kind of wanted to talk about how sound meditation and healing can balance the chakras. And I kind of I have my instruments here to my left, so I was going to kind of demonstrate a little bit.
Yes. Listen, the floor is yours. I'm so happy you're here.
Okay,
yeah, we want to learn from you and experience you. So yeah,
I'll have to pull my partner. He's on dog duty right now, so our dog doesn't get a little upset. But let me talk about 4 of the instruments that we love to play a lot, and that are kind of our go-tos, and the history of them, because I found this fascinating. So The first one is the Tibetan or Himalayan singing bowl. So singing bowls originated in the Himalayas of Nepal and India before spreading to Tibet, China, Japan, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Egypt, Greece, and then finally America. So Buddhist monks have long used Tibetan singing bowls in meditation practices and for healing rituals. So during the 1970s, which was, my generation, the year I was born, people began importing these bowls into North America and Europe. So they've only been here, really, for a few decades, but they grew in popularity in the 1990s as a complementary and alternative treatment for a variety of ailments. And there's also, again, as I mentioned, large number of scientific studies devoted to the analysis of Tibetan singing bowls and their vibrational acoustic effect. And according to these studies, the soothing resonant sounds of the Tibetan singing bowls can affect neurology as well as the psychology of the listeners. And just to get a little more deeper, during a sound healing, when we're using the Tibetan bowls, it really gets at that brain level, like that theta state, which is about 4 to 8 hertz. And that signals deep relaxation, a gateway to creativity, learning, memory, and intuition. So the Tibetan bowls can help, our listeners get into that theta state. And, and then obviously drawn more into the inner world. Therefore, during a sound meditation session, some may experience different emotions, see things, experience past memories. We always ask after a session, did anybody go to any interesting lands or did anybody see colors? And it's interesting the types of responses we get, because a lot of people say, yeah, I was in by the Egyptian pyramids or something, or I saw the color green or red or, purple. And it's really interesting, when we use the Tibetan bowls, the type of responses we're getting. Crystal bowls. Crystal bowls is another favorite, and everybody loves the crystal bowls. So that's the instrument we have the most of in a variety of different notes. But check this out. America actually invented the crystal bowls. That was in the 1980s. And during the 1980s, obviously, what was the industry? Computers, right? Computers industry made very high quality, pure silicon quartz crystal bowls, which were used to grow pure silicon chips for their hardware, for the computer hardware. So they created these bowls, right? And they were as a device to grow silicon chips. If the bowls were not precise enough, though, they were thrown out. And apparently someone on the way to the trash bin, right, discovered that they had pure sounds. Maybe he threw it in there and he heard bing or whatever, and decided to stop discarding them. So this birthed the singing crystal bowl industry right here in America. And today crystal bowls are used by practitioners to guide the listener into states of clarity, balancing your chakra centers, evoking deep meditative states, even shamanic journeys into other dimensional states and realms of wisdom and understanding. So I found that very interesting. The next instrument, the third one, is the gong. All right. This is really kind of our keynote, instrument in our practice. And there's a lot of speculation about the age of the gong. Some assume that they were the first forerunners as early as the Bronze Age, and that dates back to 3,500 BC. But the main centers of gong culture are considered to be Burma, China, Annam, and Java in Southeast Asia. And it was not until the 16th century that these fascinating and majestic instruments arrived in Europe during colonization. And due to their precious metal alloy and their artistically and tonally impressive appearance, they were coveted commodities. In fact, they were often used as signal instruments, like banging the gong in like a bougie household, to announce meal times, or to represent the cosmopolitanism of the house. So they were viewed as status symbols when you had a gong. Claude Debussy actually was one of the first musicians to seriously explore the influences of the gong in music. And Maurice Ravel is also one of the early gong pioneers, using it in his famous Bolero, right? So many other musicians use this exotic instrument to create dramatic effects. And only recently has the gong been used in sound, kind of massage and other healing modalities. All right. So the gong is definitely a key focal point. And lastly, I'm just going to mention the buffalo drum. Since the early 1800s, the buffalo drum has been used by Native American people as a ceremonial instrument, like used in healing ceremonies, naming ceremonies, even funerals. It is also used in times of celebration, like weddings, powwows, and social gatherings. And the sound of the buffalo drum is said that the Native Americans believe it carries the prayers and messages of the drummers to the spirits. So I thought that was really beautiful because when we use it, people really do love it as well. And that's the buffalo drum. So any questions on that? Obviously we have a lot more instruments, but those are like, four key ones that we tend to gravitate to and play the most, during our sessions. And if you like, like I said, I can kind of do talk about how each, the chakras, the 7 energy centers in our body, and what different instruments target that chakra. And I can kind of play a little bit too.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah. Thank
All
you.
Right. Let's do it. Okay, let me get my little thing here. Okay, so.
Don't mind if I close my eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, close your eyes if you want. All right.
Okay,
so
thank you.
The first element I'm going to manipulate here is our beautiful gong. La la la. So this is the gong that I use when when I'm walking around, the room, and Alan is in the front of the room with our big gong, and the root chakra. We're going to start with the chakras, right? So the root chakra is located at the base of the spine and is associated with grounding and stability. So big drums, say gongs, and anything set to a C note tone activate the chakra, the root chakra. And to balance this chakra, if all of you are into like kind of the science of sound a little bit more, you're going to listen to music tuned to 956 hertz. Or sorry, not 256 hertz. But just to give you an example of like, how it activates the root chakra, if you're all sitting there and just, closing your eyes. It's like when I'm playing this and walking around you, this really vibrates right through your root chakra. And you could feel that. I mean, I know, when I'm on the receiving end of sound therapy sessions, if somebody does have a gong, I am feeling that right in my root chakra. So this is a very powerful instrument. And I find people either love it or they like hate it. So, but whatever it's doing, it is, again, our whole like flow in our performance and in our program is really designed, to break up, the bad energy and release it. Okay.
Lisa, I didn't hear it at all. I didn't hear it through the microphone.
Oh, you didn't hear it?
No.
Oh. How about there?
A little bit, but it's not really. Not really.
Can you hear it there?
No, it's not picking it up.
Oh, bummer. Oh, bummer. Okay.
I was sitting here like.
Can anybody else hear it?
No.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's so weird. That's a pretty good microphone that you have.
I know. The microphone is right here.
Yeah, no, it's not picking it up.
It's not picking it up? Okay. Well, there goes our demonstration. And we have to. So let me just talk about the root chakras then. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why
it's okay. It's a good microphone you have.
Okay. The sacral chakra. So that was the root chakra. The sacral chakra is located below the navel in the pelvic area, and that governs creativity and emotions. So healing this chakra with 288 hertz frequency is most beneficial and helps release past traumas. So good instruments to activate the sacral chakra: saxophone, tuba, Swiss horn, smaller drums, and anything with a D note. So this is our buffalo drum. And this would be something that we would use to activate the sacral chakra. Okay. And I'm sorry you guys can't hear this, but it sounds really good. All right. So that's
I
the
have a
same.
random question. What about bagpipes? Because they're like so, like maybe nobody knows that answer, but that would be something to look into. Like, because like I
Yes.
probably like up here maybe like because it kind of like does like wake you up a little bit.
The bagpipes, actually, anything with like wind instruments, like a flute or bagpipe, that's the heart chakra. That actually
Oh,
targets the heart chakra. But before the heart
oh,
chakra, we have the solar plexus chakra, right? And that's positioned above the navel and linked to personal power and confidence. So music at 528 hertz can boost self-esteem and transformation. So use string instruments like the guitar, the sitar, the harp. We use monochords, which is a beautiful, like wooden instrument with these beautiful strings. And the crowd loves the monochord. That's another one of our distinguishing kind of instruments that we use compared to other sound healers. So really anything set to an E note is going to hit the solar plexus chakra. So heart chakra is at the center of our chest, obviously, and the seat of love and compassion. So music tuned to 341 hertz fosters connection and understanding. So flutes, right? So flutes like this. So we use this flute, and especially when we're playing the buffalo drum, we use this in tandem with our buffalo drum and really create that kind of Native American feel, right? And so the flute, when we're playing this, is activating the heart chakra and other small-winded instruments as well. So I think the bagpipes would fall into that category, Trish, for sure.
thank you.
Throat chakra. All right, throat chakra located at the throat, essential for what? Communication and expression. So healing it with 741 hertz music enhances clarity, truthfulness, conch bells, piano, Tibetan bowls. Look at this guy. This is something that we use. So Tibetan bowls is activating the throat chakra. And this is actually a new piece of equipment we just purchased, and it's got like different tones. It's a handheld one. So we're able to like hit it and walk around, like kind of like spin it. And as we're walking around the people, they're getting that, kind of effect. And it's absolutely beautiful. So things like this, Tibetan bowls in a G note work best for throat chakra. Third eye chakra, situated between the eyebrows, right? It's associated with intuition and insight. So music between 448 hertz frequency and 852 hertz aids in spiritual awakening. So high pitched wind instruments, okay, like this chime. This is one of our many chimes that we use, okay, that activates the third eye chakra and usually set to an A note. And lastly, crown chakra. Crown chakra at the top of the head represents enlightenment and connection to the divine. So music tuned to 963 hertz supports spiritual growth and connection. So consider bells and tingshas in B notes for the best results. And we use a variety of bells. This is just one of them that we use in our practice as well. Any questions? And those are your 7 energy centers and how yeah.
Do the because I don't have like all the hertz memorized. Do the hertz go up as the chakras go up in number?
Yes.
They do. Okay,
Yes.
that's a cool
Yes.
thing to think about and to know.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Yep.
I have a question, Alisa. Where do you get your instruments from? Like the handheld metal bells and all those things. Where do you get them from?
We actually did, you know what a great source for me has been? And we just did a session down there last week. It's called the Third Eye Mystic Shop. It's on North Lake Boulevard in like the West Palm area. I think they're technically in Jupiter, right, Trish? Walter and his team? I think so.
It might be like a town that I forget what it's called.
Lake Park. It's Lake Park.
That's where it is. That's it.
Yeah. But it's between, it's between like, Boynton and Jupiter. And he has all the latest and greatest gadgets. he is tuned into the ancients. He gets like wisdom and direction
Love
from
it.
the ancients. And he's got this is where we actually first saw this. We're like, yes, we must have it. So
I have to take a trip there.
yeah, Third Eye Mystic Shop. Walter.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a great
Okay.
guy.
You know what's so
So-
funny? Like the woman that works there actually asked me if I knew a sound healer, and I gave her your number.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the
All
woman
right.
at the
See?
front desk. Yeah, I was like, yes, I
Yeah.
do actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we love it. And like, you know what? This is such a passion project for us because we feel that if more of the world meditated, right? And for me, I know this is the only way really I can get there and get there quickly, right? So, you know, if we can spread this and more of the world meditated, we'd have a very different world. So, you know, we're doing it one soul, one mind at a time.
Yeah, with beautiful
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah.
I've experienced what you do several times, and it's truly amazing.
And we teamed up once too. And again, you know, again, we're open for all these different
Yes, we
creative
did.
collaborations.
Yes,
You
we
did the
did.
downloads and the guided meditation part of
Yeah.
it, and then they were in like
Yeah.
Savasana for us. So yeah,
That was like 2 years ago already.
it was. I
Can you
know.
believe it?
I know.
Oh my gosh.
know. So-
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was what I wanted to demonstrate and show you guys today. But
Thank you.
you know, happy to get to know each of you better. And if you know anybody needing this type of modality, please consider Sound Cascade. We have a great website, soundcascade.com, and we're on Facebook and Instagram as well. We've got some really awesome socials out there too.
Yeah.
And that has some of our performances as well. So we throw all that out on our social media.
Thank you for everything you're doing for, like, you know, for Healerverse, for the planet, for the community. And yeah, we appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate you guys being here today. Yeah, and let's definitely, if you could do like an intro for
Yeah. Yes.
the members
happy
on
to.
today, that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
We can stay in
Yeah,
touch.
I would love
Good.
to. And like any like resorts that are looking for sound healing, retreat centers in South Florida, like definitely
Yes.
like reach out to Alisa, and you could private message her on Healerverse. She gets a notification to her inbox, like on her email. And yeah, and we love you guys. Thank you.
Yay! Thank you guys. Everybody have a beautiful rest of your day and weekend.
You too. Thank
Okay.
you.